From the first time I started playing Rocket League, there was a group of content creators that always stood out from the crowd to me. Freestylers. Unlike other creators playing to, win, Freestylers instead focus on perfecting their car control, shot types, and most importantly, landing the cleanest clip possible. As someone who's attempting to follow in the footsteps of these absolutely incredible players, I wanted to answer the question: how does a freestyler reach the professional level, and what are the steps an average player can take to get there? As a disclaimer, this video will not have details on how to improve your mechanics for freestyling, instead showing the next steps of becoming a professional freestyler. For starters, I wanted to get input directly from the professionals. I reached out to a variety of freestyle team members with 3 questions. How many hours have you spent freestyling? How did you end up on a freestyle team? And what is your #1 tip for a new freestyler looking to go professional? After receiving a multitude of replies from extremely high-level freestylers, ones that I never thought I'd be able to talk to, I broke the replies down to find the most common trends, understanding common patterns and tips within each response. Starting off with question 1, more of a statistics question rather than a set tip or mindset question, I wanted to understand how many hours these freestylers have in the game. I feel like when newer players see these freestylers pulling out incredibly difficult tech and mechanics, more often than not, the thousands of hours of preparation going into it gets overlooked. Over the 28 professional freestylers surveyed, on average, each player has roughly 4,500 hours played, with our maximum being 11,600 hours and our minimum being 1,200 hours. It's important to note that the amount of hours to complete a set of mechanics varies from player to player, so rather than taking these statistics as, oh, I have to spend this many hours in the game to be good, I think it's far more valuable to take these numbers as a guideline for just how long progress might take as a freestyler, and not to worry if a mechanic is taking you a long time to learn. What's more important than the time being put in to learn a tech is the end goal trying to be reached, and this leads us into our second question. I next asked each individual player how they ended up joining a freestyle team. I intentionally made this question extremely open-ended to try to get as much variety in my answers as possible from each freestyler, as I believe that each player has their own story and own path that they took to becoming a freestyler. Looking back over the responses, there are some common generalizations and similar replies given, and compiling these allowed me to understand what the most important strategies and tips are. For starters, it's essential that I mention the importance of montages, a topic mentioned by 23 of the freestylers as one of their direct reasons for being accepted by a team. Montages are a fantastic way to get both your name and your playstyle out into the open, and as well really showcase who you are as a player, providing visible reasons for why you should be accepted to any given team. In addition, it can be a fantastic way to keep motivation up when freestyling, being able to tangibly track your progress being made over time. For the majority of these players though, a montage of their most impressive moments was a direct reason for them joining a team. As a side note, I hope to be dropping my first montage soon, so just keep on a lookout for that. Thanks guys. The other massive element that I took out of these responses is the sheer importance of networking, with 80 of the replies speaking in some form of either knowing members on a freestyle team or meeting other players with similar interests regarding freestyling as their reason for joining a team. Some of the best freestylers in the world, such as Pulse Scappled, Pulse Bork, Nixis Letho, and Pulse Atlas, all attribute their starts in freestyling to socializing, making friends within these freestyle groups, and together grinding with them, not only to get better as players, but to get better as a team as well. I feel like this is a crucial step that a lot of people overlook, not just while freestyling, but in life as well. Just being friendly and respectful can go a long way, and when networking and trying to achieve the goal of becoming a freestyler, it's no different. For the third and final primary question, I wanted to know what kind of advice these top-level freestylers would give to someone still pretty early on in their freestyle journey, to eventually get to the level that they're at. Each one of these freestylers gave an extremely insightful tip, so rather than categorizing these responses for patterns, I wanted to state the ones that stuck out the most to me. Starting off, invest your life savings into buying Pulse Scappold's clips and reposting them as your own. Wait. Okay, let's start over. Starting off, we have Pulsefire's advice. Patience and doing conscious practice. Don't just sit and be silly. While I'm still a little starstruck that Pulsefire, the YouTuber I first started watching freestyles of, replied with advice, I also genuinely believe that what he's saying here is very important. It's not just about the amount of hours you put in, it's about the amount of intentional practice you're willing to do, working to fix problems that are occurring, and being intentional about everything that you do. Next, I have Pulse Gappold's advice. Don't press things. Mechanics and consistency take a lot of time to acquire. Understanding how mechanics work will help you master them quicker. Don't lose motivation because you feel like you're not improving in the short term. Watching your clips from a few months ago can help you notice your improvements and make you smile. Having this come from arguably one of the best freestylers in the game in terms of consistency and mechanics was extremely inspiring to me, as it reinforces the idea from question 1, that everything in the game takes time to learn, and not to be hard on yourself because you can't land them in that moment, rather using everything as motivation to improve yourself. He also follows up on the importance of montages and keeping clips like we mentioned in question 2, allowing for inspiration down the line. To finish it off, Pulse Mactuff replied with a couple of tips, all of which I think are essential to learning. First, he said, try to be consistent with the content you put out. You just need content so that people bigger than you know that you are alive, basically. You have no idea how many smaller freestylers I'm sub to and they don't even know, lol. Always be kind, lift up other freestylers and you'll see how they'll lift you up as well. Try and look for your own style and ask if people like it. And finally, try as many playstyles as possible and try to get as good as you can at each individual playstyle. Taking each and every one of these tips to heart and really implementing them into your mindset can only lead to success. And I genuinely believe that as I and everyone else watching that wants to progress as a freestyler takes this to heart, it can only lead to further accomplishments down the line. So yeah, after surveying 28 professional freestylers and taking the tips and advice they've learned from their careers, I believe using these techniques as a foundation for becoming a freestyler will be extremely beneficial for any new player trying to freestyle. I would like to give a massive shout out to Pulse Crypto, who is willing to go on a limb for me and share this survey to a large group of freestylers that I never thought I'd be able to reach. I would also like to give a shout out to Pulse Gappold for as well sending this survey forward and allowing me to get further data and responses. I've been a very big fan of these two for a while now, and I'm extremely excited to see where they go and continue to progress in the future. I'm extremely thankful for all of the participants of this survey, and I will make sure to try and plug every player that took the time to reply to the survey in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please.